What's up, guys? It's your boy James, aka 68J, coming to you on this Monday. And I'm super excited as I have a phenomenal guest here today. Dr. Daniel is here today. And did I say that right?
Yes, it is correct.
Dr. Daniel was Scientific Investor, someone I've been following for a long time. Phenomenal guy, a lot of integrity, and he knows his business when it comes to TA. So, guys, I want you to do me a huge favor. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe and notification bell so you guys don't miss any of this incredible information. We're going to start off by asking Dr. Daniel, can you tell us a little bit about yourself prior to crypto, if you don't mind?
Prior to crypto, my educational background is in engineering. It was in civil engineering. Okay. So I completed my bachelor's, then went on to be an intern at Alstom Grid, which was a French company in Dubai. Wow. Like my father was employed in that company, so door opened for me in that company initially. Then after that, I went on to do my master's in construction project management in UK. Once I finished that, I came back to Dubai and I was again working there. And that's where I got the exposure to crypto. But in between, I got a scholarship for my PhD in South Korea. And I went on completing my PhD. And one of the benefits during that time was, when I went to Korea, they decided it's going to be zero tax for crypto. Oh, I'm wow. Like, that's 5 years, right? That was a long time of hodling, trading without any tax. I mean, still today, Korea has zero tax. Till 2025 Jan, it's zero tax there. So my background was initially a civil engineer. Then after the PhD, I was a research professor in the same university. But, the market cycle of 2021, I resigned. I dropped into crypto. Crypto did a good run in 2021 for me because I was buying throughout 2017 to 2021. And then I came in full-time for crypto, especially trading. So before crypto, I was civil engineer as a site engineer initially. Then once I completed my PhD, I was a research professor. But it's an entirely different field. It's full math. It's just engineering, civil engineering. So that was the actual exposure before crypto. But during my PhD, I had my channel. I started my channel in 2019 after 2 years since I started the PhD. So like my boy and the channel is kind of same time. Like I started the channel in 2019, November. The boy came out in December 5th. So they're both kids are now 4.5 years old. And I'm really happy about that too.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you obviously had some amazing things that you were doing prior to, on a very, very high level, which is extremely impressive. And it's one of the things that I really get excited about when I bring on my guests. And the reason that I asked that question is really to give validation to a couple things. Number one is I typically handpick the people that I have on my show. And I try to do as much research on them as I can. I've been watching your channel for a while. And a lot of times the reason that I do that, Dr. Daniel, is because, you see all these different people with these mindsets. We're going to get into this right now as far as why people tend to gravitate towards the quick money or the fast money. People want to find something like a Chicago coin. And don't get me wrong, Dr. Daniel, there's no such thing as a Chicago coin, but I would feel bad if I named a real coin because I'm going to hurt someone's feelings. So I would just say Chicago coin. But these people, they look for that meme coin that's got 15 zeros, hoping one day that it's like a lottery ticket. It's like a scratcher or like going to the casino. They want to get rich fast. They don't do their research. They don't do their due diligence. They don't understand, those life-changing opportunities. And so when we talk about things, and again, I told you prior to the show, I'm not a XRP maxi, but I'm very passionate about Ripple as a company, what it was created for, and the things that it solved. And the reason that I'm passionate about that, sir, is because I spent most of my life in poverty, from welfare to struggling to projects to everything else. And the thing that allowed me to get out of those situations was to dream, to be able to dream for a better tomorrow, to question everything. And to me, one of the things that was very fortunate is I'm 6'8". Obviously, my name is 68J, but I'm also 6'8" tall. So basketball was my way out. And when I look at crypto, Dr. Daniel, it to me represents, especially when you look at certain opportunities, it's really a representation of something that allows you to dream again. And I think that's why I became so passionate about helping people and starting a YouTube channel and going out there and giving the right information. So when I look at people like yourself, getting to my point, the credibility of who you are. Now, if you were Dr. Daniel and you had a PhD and you did all these things, you say, hey, James, I really like Chicago coin. I probably would get into Chicago coin only because I trust and I respect you as a person, and you don't seem like a person that will waste your time. So when I bring people on like yourself, it really validates what you're into. It really validates the fact, okay, why is this guy on a high level looking at XRP? Why is he so passionate about Ripple? Obviously, he has a brilliant mind. So that's really why I try to bring people on like yourself. It's credibility to not only who you are, but to the things that you're invested in, like XRP Ripple. So my first question was, and I think you might have already touched on this. How long have you been in crypto, and why did you actually get into it? Being that you are a doctor, there's a lot of things you could have done. I mean, you've been in Dubai, you've been all over the world. Why crypto, and what was the actual year that you got in?
The first year was 2016, late 2016, but it was not a big exposure. It was through one of my friend, and I was like trading because during that time I was trying to trade Forex market.
Oh, okay.
So I was trying to make some money on the side because as a student in UK doing my master's, the cost of living was so bad. So I was trying everything possible to make some money. That was the reality.
Yes, sir.
Then when I started losing money and then taking time, 1 year close to that, like 2017, mid 2017, one of my friends told me, Dan, look at this. This is crypto market. The volatility is really big. So if you want to trade, this is the best place. But he's holding. Like he's holding from the early days, from the Bitcoin side. Then, the Ether and all. So I started trading. But what ended up happening by December 2017 is I traded a lot.
Okay.
It improved my trading skills. But say, for example, when I started, I have had 250,000 XRP because the price was so small.
Wow.
By the time I traded to the upside with the fees, and you miss a lot, you get 30-50% trade, you are moving out. So in dollar terms, you're growing. But in XRP terms, you're going down.
Wow.
Because each time you're paying the spread. Right? So if you have an exchange with a spread of 7%, when you buy, you're paying 7. When you're selling, you're paying 7. Now you move out and you're waiting for the dip, and sometimes you end up buying above the current price. The next breakout comes in there. So by the time of December, my average was like 3.4, 3.5, close to that. So when the market reversed, I was in negative all of a sudden.
Oh my gosh.
So that's leverage trading for you, right? Yeah. When the market is going up, everything is good, great. Now, then I went on 2018, Jan, Feb, I went on learning, okay, what am I about to hold on? Because my friend was saying me, see, he's holding all these years. He went through all this rubbishness in the market, but it did give him an idea of that's the right way. But he told me, you need to know the asset which you're going to hold. You need to be 100% sure that this has the future. That's when I started digging in, listening to different YouTubers, reading through the white papers, trying to learn what happened before till that point.
Right.
And that's one of the point in the initial 1.5, 2 years of my channel. I was just purely sharing all the available documents on XRP. So we have literally went from bank to bank, IMF, BIS, all the documents you can find till 2018, 2020. It's presented in my channel because I see going through all of them. And I'm like, okay, if this is a scam, then that should be the perfect scam in the world, which is involved with the BIS, the IMF, the banks, everyone. But the problem is not everyone actually reads the white paper, say Bitcoin white paper. Yeah. If you have read that, you already know the project is failed project based on the white paper. But the test of time proved it is a store of value. Initially, it was designed as a peer-to-peer payments. It's not really good on that unless you have the layer 2s working on it, which reduces the cost, time taken. Right. But for XRP, the story is different. We all use it for remittance. Right. Like I use that to move money to India because all the other options are expensive. Yeah. Say you send $1,000 from a bank here to India, the charge is around $8,500. Yeah. If I do that in XRP, I pay less than $1. Wow. So that actually let me hold on. And not only hold on, as a trader, it allowed me to, what we say, dollar cost average till the bottom. Yeah. And March 2020, I remember, was that time which allowed me to push my average as low as possible.
Right. Yeah, I love it. And so that's amazing. You brought back so many memories. When I started in 17, I actually started off trading as well. And you're right. I remember when I was trading, one of the coins I was passionate about, I had like 40,000 of that coin. And then all of a sudden I looked up by the time it was done and I decided to hodl it. I had 1,000. And so, yeah, I definitely understand that. One of the things so when you got in and you started this channel, were you trading all assets, or was it specifically extra? Like what drew you to XRP? Were you questioning Bitcoin? Were you questioning the high fees? Because I know for a fact for me, Doc, that when I would buy and sell Bitcoin, I would stress out. I would literally have panic attacks, because in the very beginning, and I'm being just very open. Like when you would send Bitcoin to a wallet, it would take sometimes hours. You're like, where's my asset? Where's my money at? And so, yeah, was that one of the reasons that attracted you to XRP? You tested it out, you did the research, and you saw that it was lightning quick. What was the reason for that?
Now, as a what we say, a guy who has seen remittance from my childhood, like I grew up in Middle East. My father was working in Middle East, so we as Indians have the biggest culture of sending money back home, supporting the families, right?
Oh, okay.
So the fee on these is not good, right? All the fintech companies came late in last 10 years. So as I was growing up, I'm watching everyone talking about, see, you go there, UAE exchange, they have lower fees. You go that bank, they have lower fees. So when I started understanding that myself, meaning sending money back home and paying, like I was asking, why $100 in fee for $1,000, and it takes days for the money to reach there?
How long?
2 days.
Oh my gosh.
It's a transaction, right? So it didn't make any sense to me. Then when I came to Korea, there were few companies who would transfer the money in 15 minutes. And the cost was $10. And as the channel progressed, I saw all of them getting partnered with Ripple. And from 10 minutes, now your transaction is like maybe 3 minutes. You get the message in your home country, ting, it reached there, and the fees was now $2.
Wow.
Right? So you can literally see how the use case and the utility is real. I was using it. People are using it on the real stage.
Right.
And once one company entered there, all the competitors started jumping in. So in Korea, it was NB as a company, which started this. Then it was Cross, G-Money Transfer. Everyone entered RippleNet.
Right.
You don't have a competition on that scale.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. And yeah, because I remember there was a time that I was talking to a friend of mine, Dr. Christian Damboy in Nigeria, here from the United States, and I wanted to give him an example. And I sent him, I think it was like $100. And before he even knew really how to open up or to see if it came through, I heard a ding over the phone, and it was XRP. It got there within seconds, and he was shocked, and I was shocked. And so yeah, that was my first time. Not one of my first time, but just sending it cross country like that for sure. The next thing I want to ask you is kind of shifting to a different direction. Obviously, you study XRP, the ecosystem, which would make me believe that you know about some of the things that's going on here in the United States as far as the issues that we're having with Gary Gensler. I know I talked to you earlier, you're in Canada. But the SEC has really played a horrific role in really this technology evolving here in the United States, obviously with Gary Gensler, Elizabeth Warren. My question for you is, have you heard of John Deaton? Do you know who John Deaton is? And what do you think him running for Senate means for crypto? I know obviously it means a lot because he's backed XRP and many other companies. And to me, I don't know if it's really about winning or losing, but the fact that he's actually running, I think makes a huge statement. What do you think? What is your feelings on that, sir?
Yeah, John, was that one character, as I remember Brad was highlighting this in stage. Like when it was turning the eclipse day, someone came out with light, right? So a lot of people who were in US, they had trouble with that SEC ruling. It was like, November, December 2020. So all of them at once, all the exchanges delisted it. Now we see things are different. Even after SEC says something, no exchange delist them. But for XRP, it was like, the second mom kind of stance. Like in our language culture, we say that. So at that time, this guy came out and he was trying to say, okay, no, this doesn't make sense. There is a lot of different issues and a lot of people involved just got hammered. I'm going to help them. Now, when he's running for the office, the difference is, say, I consider this like, who is he running against? That makes a lot of difference. I mean, someone who don't understand the technology with that age, and someone who's trying to group up people to kick crypto. I mean, that doesn't make it like all the use cases which we discussed. It's not for only for XRP, right? So XRP is payments. If you're looking at the smart contracts platform, you have few. If you're looking at the infrastructure, you have few. So there are now in 65,000 crypto. Yes, it's only 1% which really serves utility, but still, now that's big 600 coins or more. So you have blockchain, and people only understand crypto. They don't understand that blockchain is two layer. One is the information. Second is the value. So now the guy actually understands both of it, how the technology works, because he had to go learn in detail.
Right.
The benefit is, say, when you vote for someone, you need to think about next 20 years vision from that guy.
Right.
If he is not giving you that, any steps which he takes now, it will look good now for him to win another seat. But after 10 years, like right now in Canada, that's the issue, right? It was looking good till that time for all these people. They voted one particular guy, and now people don't even have money to buy food here.
Yeah.
Being
Wow.
honest, right? So on such a stance, if you actually push someone in like that, like Deaton, in next 10 years, 15 years, you still has the chance to become a leader in that industry. A lot of it has already moved to Singapore, Switzerland. Even Ether is based on Swiss, right?
Right.
Cardano, right? So you have a lot of different platforms moved into the areas where it's not zero regulations, but it's regulation friendly.
Right.
But in US, it's not. If you take a stance, recently they were asking for more money to screw crypto companies.
Yeah.
Right? From the Congress, and the Congress is like, no, we don't even understand what you're doing, right? So yeah, for Deaton, I would personally actually say, like, the guy has been really helpful for those who were in US at that time, because all the assets were frozen in different exchanges, and they didn't have any hope.
Right.
Because for some of them, they were 100% in XRP, and it was just stuck there.
Right.
Now, even if the price goes up, they cannot sell. So it was a troubling moment for them, and that's where this guy actually played a big role.
Yeah, I agree with you big time. Yeah, he's doing a lot for the space, and what I love about John is wherever he see problems, and I know prior to him running for Senate, if there's a problem with Coinbase, he was there. If there was a problem with Library, he was there. He would always make his presence felt in trying to help bring clarity and justice to the various projects that he saw there was issues with. My next question, sir, would be, Ripple as a company. Obviously, you did your due diligence. You read the white paper on XRP, but I would imagine that you say, okay, let me figure out this company. Do you feel Ripple is a solid company, and if so, why?
The initial analysis for me back then was like, okay, this is surprising to see a startup. Now, it was not startup because it was OpenCoin initially, and then changed to Ripple, then Ripple Labs, all those movements. But I was thinking, like, how come a startup reached this level? So there should be something in it. And then if you look at the founders, say, now this guy is not in Ripple now. He went on to form Stellar. But you look from the back, the storyline from the history, and it's like, okay, this guy was involved in Mongox. This guy is now involved in selling XRP, and he's never named or never screwed. Now his project is the chosen project for CBDCs in Ukraine. I'm like, that doesn't look good. I mean, the network, the strings which is going inside. So as a founder back in those days, when he still was involved with the project, you can actually see like the access which this project got into the IMF, into the BIS. It was very, 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 very impressive. Even back then, it was Christine Lagarde, who was the chief of IMF, and she was naming Circle and Ripple on stage.
Wow.
So that's a big thing among the bankers.
Yeah.
And, I never seen, people from Ether being on stage with the IMF or, these kind of financial giants. Supranational organization, I would say. Whereas Ripple has spent way more time. So while you start analyzing, you're like, okay, if these guys are there with the regulators, they're working with the regulators in all different countries, They're not deviating regulation. They're seeking regulation or trying to move that path, clear that path.
Right.
So as a company, when you look at Ripple, then it's like, okay, the valuation, like we do, if you do stock market valuation, you do use discounted cash flow, cash flow model, all these things.
Right.
But here in crypto, you don't have any of those.
Right.
You just look at the project. So in similar case, if you look at company Ripple, they're private. They're not public. You don't get any data now.
Right.
All that you can see is the valuation can be the network model, which is like the Metcalfe's law or Reed's law, whichever you use. And the network was growing substantially. This early, like 2017, 2018, when the announcements are coming, you're getting new bank, big bank, small bank, payment institutions, all of them increasing. It was kind of every month, every week, you got something back then. And the price was still the bear market. It was 2018, 2019 when the price is going down. So
Right.
all the announcement didn't actually push the price up much because it was a bear market. But the company was so legit. On stage, there was a question I remember from Brad where the elbow guy from Ether, I call him elbow, Lubin. So he was asking, how much XRP do you sell? And Brad was like, we are transparent about that. How much do you hold and how much do you sell?
Right.
And Lubin was like, we cannot put that in public, which really means something. Like this company was transparent from the day one.
Right.
But the world is like, if you put a white flag, they'll just shoot you. They don't want to
Yeah.
have that discussion. Right?
Yeah.
So company Ripple is really, really strong. Just right now, most of like if they want to go IPO, they want to go IPO in US.
Right.
Most of the customers and exposure right now is outside US. So I'm like, okay, the moment they are waiting for is clear regulation so that they can push their customers into US as well and then go IPO. That's where you get the valuation. Because right now, all the resources which you're allocating, it's not in dollar. If
Right.
it's in India, it's INR, right? It's like $1 is 82 rupees. So you don't get that valuation when you come back into the dollar terms.
I see. That makes sense. Yeah, one of the things that was very impressive for me is watching how, obviously, after the lawsuit was filed, and I've got my own way of looking at that. The analogy is, they I always give my analogy of why I think they went after XRP, but I would like to. I don't know if you've ever done your research on why they went after XRP. I would like to get your perspective on what you think was the reason that they went after XRP, because I always say there's different people who understand the value of XRP. You and I, the retail guy or the retail investor, Ripple themselves, they understand the value of what they're doing and what it was created for. The institutions that got in early, some of them are in the shadows now because they're waiting for legal clarity. And the fourth person that probably knows what Ripple was created for and the value more than anybody else is the U.S. government or the politicians here in the States. They understand the value because they wanted to control it. But what is your opinion on why you think they actually went after XRP out of all the cryptos? Why XRP?
Now, if you look at it from the perspective of politics, which is involving crypto and money, you can actually see a lot of connection to Ethereum Alliance. So this was that time, few months back before this came in, was the time where Ether was not focused on smart contracts. Ether was trying to become a payments platform. So as a smart contracts, they already got established. The idea itself was from Ripple. Like the Vitalik, he was an intern coming into the Ripple, sleeping in the couch of Ripple's office. And they were at that time discussing smart contracts or payment. Which one should we go for? And they chose payments, but this guy got the idea of smart contracts from there. And
see, that I don't mean to cut you off, but see, most people don't even share that part of it. Most people don't even know that Ethereum had that vision of being a payment. That's I've never heard anyone actually say that. That's amazing. But continue.
Lubin actually on stage many times have said like, we are going to actually become the payment platform of the world.
Wow.
And back in that days when you were still in the proof of stake, proof of work, when you actually look at it, the fees was so bad. Now also most time it's bad, not that great. So for a payments platform, that kind of scalability issue is a trouble, right? So when they actually entered the space, they knew who is the biggest competitor, who was getting a lot of traction in that platform. So unless you slow them down, you cannot move ahead.
Wow.
So this was one of the easy way where you see the connection between the Ethereum Alliance, and I think it was Simpson, Stature, and then the SEC guys who were involved back in those days.
Right.
So they just tied the knot there, slowed them down, and they got a huge green signal.
Wow.
Which,
Wow.
like, if you look at the price charts, you will see where the price of Ether was before that green light and where it reached just after the green light. So they not only throw XRP under the bus for the time being, they took the flight during the same time.
Right. Yeah, see, I love hearing that because, like I said, people obviously understand. You think of, Ethereum, you think of ETHGate, and we'll talk about Stephen Naroff and some stuff like that. But, to hear that their vision was to be a payment platform, that really sheds a lot of light on why all this stuff happened and how they were in cahoots, this whole Wang Chang, China, Prometheum, all this stuff going on with the SEC. It makes a lot of sense when, hearing you break it down like that, which I'm very grateful that you did. And by the way, guys, shouts out to the 650 live viewers that are on right now watching myself and Dr. Daniel. We appreciate you guys in a major way. I'm going to throw a couple of shouts out. Johnny English, appreciate you. Alpha Zulu, Sly Fox, my beautiful Queen Jeanette, Monkey Business, Slippery Pickle, all you guys that are here, Sean Thompson, appreciate you guys in a major way. Thank you for all your support. I'm also going to ask you to do me a huge favor before we continue on. I want you to go over to my friend Dr. Daniel's site, to his X page. It's at XRPDNI1. Make sure you follow this guy. I don't think there's a day I don't go by and look at his charting. He's phenomenal. He knows what he's talking about. Guys, make sure you do that. Also, I'm going to ask you to do me a huge personal favor and go over to his YouTube and make sure you hit the follow and subscribe. You can see right there, boom, follow, subscribe, Scientific Investor. Make sure you guys follow Dr. Daniel's there as well. And we'll get into some other things about what he's doing momentarily. Dr. Daniel, I'd like to go into this next question. And I'm not really sure if you've been, and I'm sure you've been following Fruition Productions and what they're doing right now with this extraordinary documentary. And so they just came out with not the finished version, but they came out with almost like a preview to it. Like a finished version as they're still doing interviews. And it's gotten over, I think, 1.2 million views in the last 24 to 48 hours. So it's really, really exciting to see what they're doing. They're trying to get it on Netflix. They're telling the story of XRP Unleashed and ETHGate. Have you followed the documentary? Have you followed what they're doing, what they're creating? And if so, how important is that to the crypto space, XRP, in the movement in this entirety?
I would say the thought process aligned of bringing what happened in the recent past to the attention or into the light of for many people. It's huge step. Say right now when it is dark, you don't understand it unless someone put light on it, right? So if you do look at it on that standpoint, a lot of people who jumped into XRP don't even know what happened before, why we are slowed down. But yeah, if you're in the space for last 3, 4, 5 years, you do have an idea. But most of the newcomers don't.
No.
And if you do look at the current stage, I'm not, putting anyone in negative or wrong, but there's a lot of hype in this space. Believe me.
Yeah.
Some people give you 10,000, some people give you 100,000.
Right.
I mean, you need to know the math before you are trying to there is a target market which we are looking at. Yes, back in the day was just XRP, XLM.
Right.
Now you have HBAR, Quant, XDC, a lot of different projects in payments.
That's right.
So the target market is being shared and they're all getting adoption real time. Look at Hedra. They're partnering crazy, right? So the target market is now being shared widely, but still some people are pushing the hype. So at that stage, you now really need to know the space well.
Right.
And especially the ETHGate, because they're also getting some payment platforms on the ERC20s as well. And as a token factory, when they actually produce something like that, it's easy to go through the regulatory side. So they get partnerships easily. Right. So new people, when they're entering, they need to know this is not a short-term play.
Right.
This thing is a long-term play. Now, yes, it's been 4 or 5 years. So most likely for this wave cycle, we're nearing that area where we may get the pop soon.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about something you just brought up. There are other players in the game, and part of the reasons. And by the way, guys, we've already shot up to over 700. Thank you guys so much for your support. Live viewers between X and YouTube. We appreciate you guys in a major way. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe and notification bell so you guys get all the quality information that we come with. Let's talk about the damages. Obviously, like you said, back in the day, there was a few players in the game. XRP, you can see all the partnerships. And let's talk about like what has the lawsuit done damaging wise? Because one thing that I do love about Ripple and XRP is when everybody else was running, Dr. Daniel, when the market went from 68,000 down to 15,000 and some change, a lot of companies were going under. A lot of CEOs started running. Banks were collapsing. They were laying off people by the tons. But the one company that kept expanding, kept acquiring other companies, kept growing. You'd hear about all these partnerships and licensing, and they kept fighting this multi-million-dollar lawsuit because they were focused on what their mission was always the whole time. What does that say about Ripple and how damaging, if at all, which I'm sure I'd like to get your opinion, has this lawsuit been, and do you think it's going to affect things long term, or do you think the fact that maybe the thing that happened in the beginning might actually at the end be a blessing? The fact that while everyone is worried about what they're going to be doing as far as with the SEC, Ripple's coming to an end. Your thoughts on that?
Now, if we think about it, the timing of when this happened, I would say that's a little bit more important to understand.
Okay.
Because that time was a hype phase of crypto. We were all going like, crazy to the upside. A lot of different coins were shooting up.
Right.
And XRP was also doing fine, just fine, right? Say, for example, if I can share my screen here, how would I do that?
You see where it says present?
Screen.
Okay.
Okay.
You see where it says present?
Yes.
Okay. If you hit present and then it says share screen, you should be able to share it.
Okay, here we go. Can you see something coming up?
No. Let me see. Let me see how I can give you access here. Let me see.
It is showing me is sharing your screen. So maybe it's asking the permission at your end.
Okay. Place management guest important scenes. I'm not sure if let's see if this allows you to do it. Okay, I see it right here. Yes. Boom. There you go.
Okay. So if you look at this, initially during that run, this black, okay, I'll put Ether in black, the black guys, right? And XRP in gold.
Okay.
So you look at this area, XRP was out running.
Wow.
And that's the exact point where the SEC came in and smashed us. Jeez. Now, there was something in the TV side which was showing there is something bad happening behind the screens. And if you go, now this is the beauty of YouTube, right? You go back in that time, I was saying, okay, I'm selling my trades here, the levered trades, not the spot bag, because I think there is a drop coming. And we as a family moved out. Okay. Then this case came in and we dropped like nuts. But now, if you do look at the total run up, XRP, did way better than Ether before that.
Right.
And it was doing very well, staying above Ether throughout the bear market.
Wow.
Now, all of a sudden, once this lawsuit came in, you didn't even perform anywhere close to Ether. So the primary reason is it was taken out of the exchanges or delisted in US-based exchanges, which is say the biggest liquidity in that side. So the liquidity was taken out. Those who wanted to buy or sell couldn't do that. And that's one of the biggest market in the world.
Wow.
Because if you buy an INR, if you buy an AED, it's getting multiplied when you buy $1 worth of US.
Right.
Because your purchasing power is higher. Now that market has been shut down for XRP.
Wow.
Yes, we still did 10x after that, but that was not what we should have done. Right. Most likely, we should have at least matched up with what we have done in the last cycle. And that, diminishing return would be there, but still it would show you around a 25x. XLM did 28x.
Wow.
Usually, they are highly correlated.
Right.
When XRP does something, the ratio was like 1:3. Right. When XRP was at $1, XLM was 0.3 in the previous cycle. And this time it went close to still around $1. XLM,
Right.
which meant like it was not $2. We should have reached the all-time highs at least to test that.
Right.
Right. But I don't believe like, we should have been at $30, because if
Yeah.
we think about that, then XLM should have been at the higher end.
That makes sense.
Both competing in a similar market.
Right. When you look at, and I know you probably pay attention to all the news and stuff, when you saw Gary Gensler go in front of these various congressional hearings and even news sources, and they would ask him, is ETH a security, or why did ETH get a free pass? He would always just basically not answer the question and move on to something else. I can't answer this, or I'm not at liberty to answer this. And it kind of gave a overview of the corruption and the fact that, we understand Bitcoin, but why did ETH get a free pass? And recently here, like in the last couple of weeks, we hear that the SEC now is saying that Ethereum is a security. And it's I think when they first did it, it was baffling. And then I started thinking about it, Dr. Daniel, and I started thinking to myself, okay, well, why would they do that now? And is it possible because they're getting the pressure of approving an Ethereum ETF? So, hey, let's give a falsified sense of justice, and let's call this thing a security, with the fact that, hey, whether it's, you can even hear Brad Garlinghouse say he doesn't think they're gonna prove that, or they're gonna be able to do that. And for different reasons, whether it's the statute of limitations that might have ran out, whatever the case may be. I mean, first of all, you let the beast get big, and now you want to, do something that maybe won't even affect it. And the thing that makes me really think negative in that situation, even though we have Stephen Narev, we have all this information, and ETHGate is real, and Wang Chang and documentation, and Jay Clayton, and people got paid, and it's very obvious. The problem is, if you look at FTX and what they did with Sam Bankman-Fried, how he got 25 years after stealing people's life savings, after devastating so many lives. And the one thing that they left out of court, the one thing that they say they would drop out of all those felonies, is where the money went as far as on the political end, who got paid. They dropped that part of the case. And so when you look at stuff like that, Dr. Daniel, it doesn't give me a lot of hope that this is about justice with Ethereum. Is more about smoke and mirrors, and maybe just some type of a facade that they're doing in order to get to the Ethereum ETF. So hey, we got to deal with this. Let's deal with it. And then it just, I don't think they're going to go through what Ripple and XRP did. Just your opinion on why now. That's my biggest thing, is why now.
If you look at how the things played out till that point and what came after that, say once SEC came out saying this, you had the CFTC coming out and saying, no, it's a commodity.
Yeah.
And then if you remember what happened with Ripple in the court was clear, saying if two regulators are fighting about same thing, how can an investor know what it is, whether it's a commodity or a security? Right. So yes, it's just a smoke and mirror or a cloud about the stuff. But that kind of, push a little bit of retail traders into side. But those who are sure about what game they are playing, they will load up. Right. So the micro movements, when institutions enter, you will get a ton more manipulations than usual. Now, here in this particular part, if you look at that, look at the timing again. SEC is cleared in court. Now they still have the institutional side, which is being on the game. It's still on the line. So you can't actually argue the previous sales, which they did to all these financial institutions to incentivize them to use the ledgers there. So that's an issue.
Right.
But the court actually cleared XRP as an asset in itself is not a security.
Right.
Now, if Ether is actually want to look at the area of payments to overcome this, it now needs that label of non-security. So first, they need to show we are trying to prove ourselves that we are not security. So someone has to come behind them to smash them. That's where the reflex comes in, right? So in my thought process, I was thinking about it like this. Okay, they cannot all of a sudden come out into the market and say we are not a security.
Right.
No matter what others say. So now I think SEC is opening a door for them to use the existing regulatory clarity, which was brought in by Ripple and XRP, to use it for themselves, saying Ether is a commodity, which would again increase their adoption because network effect is still there. Right.
Do you think that the ruling with Coinbase recently, where the judge says secondary sales were not constituted as security, do you think that has any type of advantageous or benefit to the Ripple case, being that that's the one thing that seem to came out with the Judge Annalisa Torres as far as secondary sales. Do you think that has any type of positive, reflection?
Oh, that has a lot of positive for everyone, even including ETHGate.
Okay.
See, if you look at them, it was like, the Galaxy guy who was buying because he was like, the friend's initial investor, seed
Right.
investor during that. So yeah, Mike Novogratz. So these guys were not secondary market. It was private market, the first market where they sold Ether for, pennies. So if you look at that, now they're in trouble.
Right.
Now they are in trouble. Whereas the money flow for them, if you look at where Ether was back then, it was like, $16. Now, after the drop of the market, it's close to $4,000, $3,700.
Right.
So all the retailers, think about XRP, what happened the moment it got screwed? We dropped substantially.
Big
so
time.
if Ether is to drop big time, the network suffers. So for them, they need clarity because the competition is increasing. Solana is trying to get on that same fire, but they still have a lot of failed transactions.
Right.
So the competition on the smart contracts layers, it's increasing. Like Cardano is there, Polkadot is there, Avax is there. It's all building up. They're all getting the developers' activity. Like if you remove Ether for the developers' activity and look at the market, you can see Cardano and Polkadot increasing. Right? For XRP, we don't have that now.
That's right.
But primarily, that's because we're payment institutions. Our partners are banks, financial institutions. This is a payments platform, not a smart contracts platform.
Right.
Say, if you have a Microsoft computer, you can develop new applications for it. That's Ether. Whereas XRP is not like that. Our value is from the existing nodes, like banks. But they don't put money into this ledger because they don't want to see 20-30% drop.
Yeah.
They're scared of that.
That makes sense.
Now, the recent move from the XRP ledger or Ripple, bringing a stable coin into the ledger makes a lot of sense. Which means the companies who want to use this ledger and technology don't have to suffer through the volatility. Because these companies are private and public companies. They have investors and shareholders.
Right.
So they put out quarterly reports. They cannot show they are down 30% for this quarter.
Right.
So for them, they need stability in the price action, the assets. This is similar to that XLM bringing real world assets, the commercial paper, the bonds, and all on that ledger. Same thing is happening for XRP now. It's just starting.
Right.
So we've been late to this party of bringing in more capital onto the ledger, stored in the ledger. Now it's getting started. So if you come back to all of this, Ripple is trying to find new ways to overcome what Ether has put in place, the barrier. Just in US. Outside that area, they're doing very well. But again, it's not in dollar terms. When it comes into dollar, it gets divided by 82 if it's in India, or divided by 3 if it's Middle East. So the value is not that big.
Right.
Once they get that leg in US, the value becomes big.
Right. No, it makes a lot of sense. Now, since you brought it up, how big is this stablecoin by Ripple? And the reason I asked that is because you've seen, I think people who don't understand it, Dr. Daniel, they've got a negative perception. And you saw some comments that were, quite ignorant to this extent of, well, XRP is going to be a stablecoin now. And it's like, well, you're not saying that with BNB. I mean, BNB has a stablecoin. I mean, or Binance. I mean, what's why didn't you say that about them? They've got a coin right now that's sitting up around what is it, $588, and will probably go into well over 1,000 at some point. So how big is this stablecoin, and why do you think people don't understand the positiveness?
What we say, misunderstanding. This actually initially came back in 2017 or 18 with the HSBC report, if I remember correctly, where they were saying stable coins. They put it in the title, stable coins, and they used XRP and XLM, named them inside that, and then gave the detail. But those who directly skip the first paragraph from that is having this trouble. In the first paragraph itself, as I remember, now I'm paraphrasing, but as I remember, they were clearly mentioning it as for the purpose of that payment, these were stable relatively to the others. So they're not talking about the 1:1 stable coins. They're saying during that transaction, the 3 seconds, the 5 seconds, this is stable. It's not a stable coin because in the same So I remember it was maybe page 16 where you come into it was a double double column page. So on the right side of that, at the bottom, maybe the third paragraph, it was mentioned this asset, XRP, is designed as an appreciating asset because your supply gets burned with each transaction. So it's designed as an appreciating asset. So an appreciating asset cannot be a stable coin. I mean, it's common sense.
A great answer, and I'm glad that you were able to answer that. Before we actually continue on, guys, do me a huge personal favor. Go over to our our Crypto4Life YouTube channel. We go live each and every day here. And we've got just a Rolodex of incredible information and some of the greatest interviews that you'll ever find in crypto. We just had Brad Kimes, we just had Shannon Thorpe, we just had Molly Elmore, and Jimmy Valley, and so many of those guys. And now we have the one and only Dr. Daniel with Scientific Investor. Go over and make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe and notification bell so you guys don't miss any of the incredible information. Now, Doc, I want to ask you something in regards to this $2 billion asking price from the SEC in regards to what they want from XRP Ripple. Now, a lot of people see it as a negativity. I personally see it as a strategy. If you want, the 700 something million or whatever it was in Prometic cells, you don't ask for 700 something million because you're going to end up getting less than that. But if you want close to that, you ask for some ridiculous number. Now, the thing that I found, sir, to be kind of positive is all this stuff is happening at a certain time. You just saw the ruling with Coinbase, which can obviously have a lot of reflect on Judge Annalisa Torres about the secondary sales. But the fact that they asked for something, that means that if Ripple said, okay, I'll give you $2 billion, this is over. I mean, that starts going towards a settlement. So is it a negative thing? Is it strategic? Why right now? Do you see something positive like, hey, maybe we're going into settlement talks? Your opinion on that?
For me, maybe I'm wrong, but SEC is having balancing issue, the budgeting issue. So that's one of the reasons why they go to the Congress asking for more money, and they are now fighting this war with a lot of big crypto companies like Coinbase. Right. I mean, their war chest is like Ripple's war chest.
Yeah.
Ripple spent almost $100 million just in legal fees to fight SEC. How many small companies can do that? I mean, look at Library. They got shattered, right? Even though the project was legit, they got shattered because they didn't have that big of a war chest to go forward, right? So for me, SEC is asking to Ripple because they have that money. They can give that money. Only they can do that.
Right. But they won't. They won't.
They won't. Why would they? Right? No. Because they've been fighting till this point. They will not do that. They'll let them go into trial for that. But if they want to fight the same war with other companies on different fronts, they don't have any other chance. They need more capital. The Congress is now not happy to give them. Now the country, that becomes the macroeconomics. The interest rates are high. The existing debt servicing for US is about $1 trillion. All those comes into play. So Congress cannot just give the money free for SEC. So one way or the other, they need the money.
Right.
So for me, it's not a big deal. They're just trying to get more money. And the only firm, after negotiation, giving half of that, at least, if they have the money, they can give it, right? So it's only Ripple who can do that now. But I don't think Ripple is going to actually give them the money because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, not that much. And something you just said, and I have to say this part of it is the SEC has really lost their credibility, not just with the American people, but with all countries around the world. And the fact that you see these the judicial system right now, these judges that are saying they're unethical, they've caught them lying. I mean, so how do you give this body more money when they're just lying? They got their own narrative. It's corruption at its finest. I mean, it's like Molly Elmore said on my channel, it's like a mob type American gangster type thing. Like you got to pay to play here in the United States. Well, do you think, and kind of like what you're saying, or your thoughts on the fact that maybe they give up this battle with Ripple, which is why they asked for a dollar amount. And I don't think Ripple's, going to give them $2 billion. But I do remember when Stuart Alderete last year made a statement. He says, look, I've talked to Brad, and he goes, if it was hey, let's give them X amount of dollars, they would do it but it would be at the terms of there, it's done. It's over. Ripple's not a security. We don't want to hear anything else about it. Here's a settlement. So could it be something like that where they threw this $2 billion out to start negotiations? They've been caught up in all these lies. And then you saw some people talk about the stablecoin. Why announce that now if there wasn't some hope of maybe a settlement so that they're able to move forward clearly? So, is this a possible we'll lose the battle in order to continue to fight the war because we need that money to get other people? Could that possibly be something at play here?
For SEC, yes, but the timing I think is normal sequence. So if you remember what Brad was talking in Davos when the Circle guy was also there on stage, the Circle guy was saying they're looking forward to put USDC on XRP ledger.
Right.
They were giving the examples of how that can scale their ability to. And Brad was also positive on that. But then for the regulatory side, the US, especially because for USDC, the main part is in US. They hold 3-4 billion in US treasuries, right? That's their reserves. So for them, without institutional sales being said or cleared with the green light from the court, it's hard to do that. So that part is now slowed down. If you remember, Dilip Rao once said, the holy grail is to make institutions, banks put money on the ledger. And initially the thought process was hold it as XRP. But crypto market is still speculative. The movement is up, down, 10, 20, 30%, right? So they don't want it. So that's one of the reasons why they wanted a stable coin. They were looking at USDC on XRP ledger, but now they're bringing their own because the other stuff is not working.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Your thoughts, and I know nothing that we talk about in the show should ever be considered or deemed financial advice, by the way, but I do have to ask this question. It's a two-part question. Where do you see Ripple, XRP in the short and long term? And why do you think people get so frustrated with the price? And before you answer that, I always like to give a little bit of my 2 Satoshis or my two drops or 2 cents or whatever. I don't think everyone understands it from a business perspective. I think everyone's so caught up in looking at Shikaka coin and this meme and that meme and quick returns and all these kind of things that they're frustrated because it's like you said, for people who've been around, they understand what they hold. They understand what XRP is. For people who are new in the space, it can look like the worst performing asset that's around if it comes to the short term eyes on the project. So obviously there's a difference between retail, Dr. Daniel, and what we understood it was created for, which is institutional adoption. And those are 2 big different things, because I always say that I think XRP could go over $1 if the market keeps going up. It can go to $2 or $3 if the market keeps going up. But there's a difference between following the market, and there's a difference between what it was created for, which I think at some point it will detach itself from the market. Your opinion on those 3 things. Number 1 is price in the short and long term. Why are people getting frustrated? And do you think at some point, I guess 3 questions now, XRP will detach itself from the rest of the market?
Now, the part with me is that XRP is my biggest asset, which I hold.
Yes, sir.
But I'm not an XRP maxi at that point. I see it as the best asset in the payments platform.
Okay.
So you have a lot of competitors, the XLM, the AH-bar, Quant, a lot of them. But this has actually proven, or if you use that comparing, XRP, XLM comes really close. If you do the transactions, the time taken to reach from one end to another end. So as a payment mechanism, that works really, really well, right? Now, the valuation part, a lot of people have different thought process, looking for bigger numbers. Now, saying looking for $1, that's the most conservative target I've heard in a long time.
Right.
So for me, I think about it as an overall market. Because in the overall market, if you look at the XLM, XRP correlation, they're still together. XLM don't have the SEC case, right? The part of market sentiment coming in to this side, which is the payments, is important. Like, we need to look at that. We need to discuss about that. Otherwise, we don't actually get the exposure of what this really is doing. Say, the moment we actually look at it with a lot of different assets, we understand it's not that bad. Say, for example, let me share the screen here. Okay. So this will actually show you what we are watching. Say this is the black one is XRP,
Okay.
blue is XLM,
Okay.
the yellow is Cardano. Now look
Okay.
at where we are, right? XRP and Cardano is together. XLM
Mm,
is underperforming XRP in that sense.
I
Mhm.
see.
So if you look at these different spaces on the market as a whole for the large caps, they are all doing the same thing. Uh-huh. Now you come to the top here and you see, okay, XRP did not reach here because of the ACC issue. That was the loss which we took.
Right.
Mhm. XLM and Cardano was performing very well. Cardano went for the wave 3 into price discovery. Great.
Wow.
So here, as an asset, if you look at this, I would say we are still here. We haven't changed much. Now, for XRP alone, like if you're considering this asset in itself, looking at what kind of patterns we have seen historically, what you may look forward to, at that point, we'll actually clearly put like, okay, market kind of matters, right? We have seen very, very similar trend lines before burst, whether it's a 10x
Mm,
or a 100x burst, we have seen something similar. So even now we are on that front. Now, say you're not that trend based guy, you're a pattern guy. You would still argue that this cup and handle is still valid. It's not the best drawing out there, but you kind of get the idea.
I can see it.
This is
Yeah,
the
I see it.
cup and
Hmm.
handle.
Yeah.
Now, if you know the cup and handle, the question a lot of people are not asking is in that this matters. Like say for example, if you bring in cup and handle, just for those who are not familiar with how the trend actually plays out, yep, this can be a best example. Say once you take this out, you need to know how that or from where that pattern formed. So if you look at this cup and handle, the normal people give you, okay, the measured move is this, you brought it to the upside, that's it.
Right.
But there is a little bit more to it, which is, yeah, like this. See, if your trend before that cup and handle was 1 or more months of strong move, you're expecting a larger continuation, not
Mm,
same or small, larger continuation. Whereas if you had a short trend, a mature trend, now we are looking for a smaller continuation. Now look at this and say, like, what do you feel? Do you feel this as a larger movement or
big time.
smaller? So for me, I think that's a larger movement here.
Yeah.
So the upside should be larger. Now,
Right.
that in a log scale would push the number close to 300.
Wow.
But
Wow.
the process is like how long it's going to take. We may still do similar pattern going up here, maybe 15, maybe $20, then coming back down.
Right.
Because the market is still speculative.
Right.
Imagine, say, for example, if I ask myself when the price of XRP is at $10, will I take profit? Yes, for sure I will take profit.
Right.
When it's
Right.
15, I'll sure take profit. And I'm talking to a lot of different people in the one-on-one sessions, and I've seen people with like crazy amounts of XRP, like in tens of millions.
Yeah.
They're all planning to sell from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have the exit strategy set.
That's right. That's right.
This is based on the cost basis. Say my average is like below 0.17. So if I'm not selling at $60, someone should slap me. I'm 30x at that point. As an investor, why wouldn't you sell? Right?
Right.
As an
Right.
investor, that's
Right.
what you
Right.
pay. The problem is a lot of people bought XRP at $1 or $2.
Mm-hmm.
They won't have the same ROI as
No.
those who bought at 0.2 or 0.3.
Right.
So
Right.
your average is 0.2. When the price reaches $10, you're 50x.
Right.
So the guy who bought it at $1, he still takes 10x.
Yeah.
So when others are showing a 50x, they don't have it. So
Right.
for them to get that 50x and to match the ego, they need the price to be at $50.
Right.
And that's not how the market works. So
Yeah.
it's based on your cost basis where you calculate this.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I would still look for a short-term range of known to resistance, which is $2 and $3.8, which is the known to resistance.
Yeah.
But after that, it's the price discovery.
Yeah.
This time around, the positive thing is we have all the institutions partnering. We
That's
have
right.
all the exchanges relisting.
Right.
We have clarity for the asset as well.
Right.
But for the market, like you were saying about the meme coins, when the green candle pops, this is where people jump in.
Yeah. I agree.
When you say, for example, I clearly remember the times when I was saying about Luna, about Celsius, about FTX. Like, I don't know how many people in the market, like I'll share this so that, it's clear. say, I really don't know how many people in the market was talking about these things before it started happening, right? So this is Luna. In my group where I share my thought process, I was saying like, okay, guys, I think there is something wrong, right? This pattern is a rising wedge. Historically, whether it's commodities, stocks, or crypto, that shows reducing momentum.
Right.
So we were expecting for a drop. Now, not to zero for sure, but coming back down. Now, this is at $100. So we were looking at the bottom as support, which was like $5, $6. That was a huge drop.
Right.
We were looking for, right? If you're not taking the profits, it's a bad option. Then we had the thought process of sell shares. Now, you should look at the dates. That's the problem, right? These kind of macro calls are always early because they're forming on a macro chart.
Right.
So these were literally a few months before that actually started playing out. This was even earlier, Celsius, 6-7 months earlier. The price never went up. It only came down. So in the same sense, if you look at everything, this was FTT, but I was saying this is going to become the Luna or Celsius, which we already saw what happened.
Right. Exactly.
So the thought process here is okay, this was the next one, which was BNB before the recent drop. But coming back to the point, when the price is still low and the chart actually shows you what the market is trying to do,
right,
not everyone is interested.
Exactly.
The moment the price breaks higher, people want to jump in. Now, those are traders, breakout traders.
Yeah.
But then you go on, see asset has done 30% today, 100% today. Then people buy with leverage. I'm like, that's the best recipe to get killed at that moment.
Yeah.
Right? So your trade is getting shot down in the same moment.
Yeah.
So positioning yourself is much better if you're a trader or a hodler than chasing the green candles. I agree with what you were saying in the initial part. So in any of those stands, I would say don't just have XRP.
Yeah.
Like I know some people would have a very bad argument because my personal experience was I had only XRP initially. Mm-hmm. Then I started watching how the capital is moving through the market.
That's right.
It enters payments at the end, right? Unless you are completely busy with your business, job, family, and all, and you're not looking at crypto, don't hold XRP. If you're looking at your wallet every 30 minutes, this is going to kill you. Right? The emotions, the frustrations, it's going to be bad. Yep. Say last year when we were starting to trade, understanding the cash flow, we entered into AI coins like the Fetch, the AGIX, and all of these are shared. Huh?
That's right.
Hundreds and thousands of the members, they actually see this. So when I take a trade, they get to see the screenshot. When I sell, they get to see all of those. So now the benefit is, if you are wrong, everyone would see this. But if you are right, the credibility increases.
That's right.
So the money flow in market, we learned it easily that it was in AI. Then it moved into smart contracts, to gaming, to infrastructure. It was not coming into payments.
That's right.
The only big candle which we got was the court case, right? The SEC getting clear, XRP getting cleared from the SEC. That's when we got a pop, but that too was sold off completely. So the structure was not ready to go up. So if we look at it on that stance, if you don't have any other assets in any other segments, you won't get the average ROI of the entire market. So XRP is a large cap asset. If you don't have a small cap asset in the same industry, which is payments, so even if the payments is doing a 50x, you will get 20.
Right.
Because small caps make the ROI bigger.
That makes sense. Yeah. And I want to touch on something that you said in regards to taking profit. I think that's one of the things that I really try to harp on here on the show when I have people on, because I think a lot of people are going to miss. I want to show you something I put on. It's on my my X page, and I want you to take a look at this and let me know your thoughts, because I think people should have, matter of fact, this is not financial advice. For me, I don't want to say what people should have. For me personally, I have different bags at different levels of profit taking. So I'm not just going to try to figure it out because that's emotional. I have a plan. That's what I call a strategic plan. I always talk about the 5 things that people should always have in place. Number 1, it's a strategic plan. Number 2, always do your own research. No matter what I say or Dr. Daniel says, always do your own research. Number 3, control your emotions is one of the biggest killers in the space. Number 4, you got to know when to take profit, and you have to have, in my opinion, me personally, strategic levels of taking profit. And then number 5, always be focused on your why, which is why are you doing this, in it to keep you on track with what your plan is. So I'm gonna have you listen to this, Dr. Daniel. Let me know what you think on this. $10 XRP will change most people's lives. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. But I also agree it's going to probably be one of the biggest regrets that people made, because again, if Allow Capital, who said a possibility of a $25,000 to $35,000 XRP by 2030, let's say they're 10% right. That's $2,500 to $3,500. Let's say they're 1% right. That's $250 to $350. Okay, screw them. Forget that. I mean, screw them, but forget that analogy. Let's go with Ripple itself. XRP, in order to work the way it has to globally, has to be at least $10,000. Okay, let's say they're 10% right. That's $1,000. Okay, let's say they're 1% right. That's $100. So my whole thing is, I think a lot of people are going to miss the 1% potential at $5 or $10, maybe $20. I think that's where people just have to have a solid plan, because I mean, $10 million isn't what it used to be back in the day. And again, that's not financial advice. I'm just saying people have to be smart. Everyone's going to have different levels. A $10 XRP changes a lot of people's lives. $100,000 changes a lot. So I'm not trying to dismiss that. All I'm saying is you should have levels of where you're cashing out. You have strategic levels of where you're cashing out, and I wouldn't go all out at a certain dollar. Again, that's not financial advice, but man, I don't know what's greater, to get $10 or to live with a life full of regretment if it potentially hits 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 or anything else that they're saying. It'd be crazy. Between all of us here, the stocks of Pepto-Bismol are going to go up because you're going to have a lot of sick people that missed the boat. $10. Okay, so that was kind of like my little assessment. Your thought process on what was said as far as levels and things like that, Dr. Daniel.
Now, for profit taking, I also scale out. I don't take at once, because it's market, it's speculative. We really don't know where the exact top is going to be.
That's right.
So no one knows. So what we try to do in most of our, even the short-term trading, is to scale out slowly, right? So for me, the way I'm looking at, I'm like being a host of what I do, I see thousands of people and their portfolio and their exit strategies. And if I look at it, say maybe around 200, 300 individuals in that 1,000 is having a very bigger than the average. Say in the YouTube, maybe the average would be 100,000. Or below that, because it's worldwide. Like, if not everyone earns in dollars, right? But in my Patreon, most of them are from US, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, like that. And I see the average is like 250 for the entire 1,000. And the top 250 people are 400, 500 on average, 1,000 exactly. There are very few at the top, maybe 15 or 16, say about 10 individuals with tens of millions of XRP.
Right.
And all of them, when they say they haven't planned and their friends, I'm looking at them where they're parting, some of them sending the photos from the JP Morgan Diamond group. And I'm like, okay, they have reached there. Their friend circle is like that. Right. And when they say they're going to sell at these levels, which is a little bit earlier than what you were saying, I'm like, the supply which is going to come into the market is going to be bigger.
Right.
Now, say we believe XRP is going to do magic. Okay, I'll share the screen if you allow me to.
Yes, sir.
Say if we believe XRP is going to do the magical move just like Bitcoin did, right? Okay. Great. Even in that phase, it's a market cycle. You go up, you come back down. You go up, you come back down. You go up, you come back down. So if we put that thing into place, that means say XRP goes to $200 or $100. On the way, we will drop. There is no doubt. Say if you take a altcoin with a long history, I like CF for that matter, because we have a long history.
Okay.
The asset actually did exponential move. But on the way up, you literally had around 80% drop couple of times. 80% drop couple of times.
Wow.
So say that means every asset is doing that. Like if you go on to NEM, I think there's a lot of different assets where you have the history to go to that background, and you see all of them dropping 70 to 80% each leg. And not only them, XRP also did that. Right? When we pull up XRP itself in its macro wave and look at how much it dropped in each leg, we kind of see a 60-70% drop.
Wow.
So now this is not a hodling perspective. This is not good for a lot of people too, unless they know what's happening. Right?
That's
if
right.
they have an advantage, it was good. If not, it's bad. Say, I remember when I was selling here at 1.91 and sharing the screenshot with my group, even my friends were asking, Danny, why here? Why here? Right? And I was like, one, that's my target. Two, this is bad, meaning the price is going up, but the strength is not. So someone is selling at that range.
That's right.
Now, my mistake was I only looked at it on a daily. I
Mm.
should have looked at it on the weekly too. Because if I did, instead of taking just my capital out, 10% out, I would have taken 50% out. Because that negative divergence was also visible on the weekly.
Oh, wow.
And that's the easy thing for your viewers to understand. If you see the price going up and the RSI not going up on a weekly, exit. That's like, the price is going up, but someone on the buying side is selling heavy when
Wow.
retail is FOMOing in. So big money is moving out. The smart money, it's moving out. So if you put all of that into the equation, each leg we go up, we are going to see big drops. So say $10, we'll come back to $6. We'll come back to $5. So if you are a trader and you miss the top and bottom, you'll still do good, increasing your XRP back, the number of XRP you hold, in the same ride to the upside.
Right.
Me, I was thinking, okay, when I entered the market, I traded up in the wrong way, like a Forex trader, not a position swing trader there.
Right.
And I lost the number of units. But if you do this correctly, you're increasing the number of, say, for example, some of our viewers here would be those who follow me from 3-4 years.
Right.
I've seen people having the aim of reaching 100,000 XRP, now with 450, 500,000.
Right.
That took 3-4 years, 3.5 years.
Right.
But they reached there. Yeah, it takes time. That's a different story.
Right.
It's not an overnight success thing.
Right.
But I would actually put the price going in wave forms, just like Bitcoin or crypto or stock market in general,
Right.
which would be, say, around $8 to $9, then a drop, big drop, then going up to $15 to $20, $22, then a big drop.
Big drop.
And then you go up from there. So say from $20, you drop 60%, 70%. You come back to $7, $8. But from there, just 15x is $100.
Right.
So I'm not saying it won't reach $3. It will reach there.
Right.
But when? That's the question. I really don't think it's going to be in this cycle.
Right.
Now, a lot of people hate me for saying that. But based on last 8 years in crypto market and looking at charts in a lot of different markets, I think this time you don't have the volume. For the price to match, you need volume for a breakout.
Right. Right.
Like if you look at JP Morgan, Fidelity, or any of them, they'll always have a CMT on their top end, which is chartered market technician, the chartered guys in the technical side. So I believe there is value in what the market is saying.
Yeah.
Like, say, for example, I usually use this analogy. If you have a boat parked with a good engine, and there's a lot of shitty boats alongside you, and there is a tsunami, everything goes up. You try to control it, and you're slow. Others go up. So that's what's happening. Like, this is a great boat with a great engine, but you see the Pepe ship and all popping through. So you want to jump onto them. But when you jump on, I want you to understand this. The moment it takes a dive, they don't have engine to control it.
That's right.
It's going to drop 99.9%.
Wow. Wow.
Right? So that's where the project, the utility, those leaders in the project, it all comes into the picture.
Right.
So with that, we are all human beings.
Right.
Say if it's me buying into this asset for this long, and if I say I'm going to take profits at $6, $10, $20, as it goes up, we have multiple targets, but as it goes up, I believe there's going to be a lot more people who has a lot more XRP than me will be selling too. Because we have to understand this. If you look at the exchanges, on a lot of people are in, they don't have equal volume. Say when we were buying XRP at 0.2 or below that, it was easy to buy 5,000, 10,000, 50,000 XRP at a time.
Right. Right.
Like when I was buying, when the price was dropping, I was sharing the screenshots. Right. Now, imagine when you're selling at $5, $10.
Right.
They're not buying 10,000. They're not buying 50,000. Maybe they're buying 1,000 or 500 XRP. So when you execute that sell, you need someone on the other end to buy and use it.
Right.
And this is the only way I see, like, where the AMM and the Ripple's role coming bigger. We'll get those executed. But if it's on small exchanges, you have trouble. You cannot sell it to dollar. You'll have to sell it to maybe Bitcoin and then sell Bitcoin to US dollar because you don't have liquidity, right? So I always say when you sell, you need to keep your mind on one thing. Who's going to buy that from me? If
Yeah.
I'm to sell what I've accumulated in the last 7 years at $20, is that other individual or 10 people who are on that exchange going to buy at that price? Most
Right.
likely no, right? So think about it like this. Say when the price is at higher end, $3 last time, how many of us really bought 100,000 or
Yeah.
50,000?
Yeah.
No, we were like, I was literally buying like, 100, 500,000, not more
Right.
than that back then,
Right.
2017, right?
Right.
So I would look at the market and say the same, which means you should know what you're doing. And that's one of the reasons why those who had cash flow issues in last 9 months, I was saying this, guys, watch this. If you're not in these assets, say, for example, these segments of the market, you are missing out on a lot of cash flow, which is happening right now in front of us.
That's right.
Say, again, the trouble comes in with people don't having, say, okay, I'll give you some example. I had few members back in the days, and some of them left, and now all of them are coming back.
Right.
They went to different groups where they trade with like high leverage. I mean, high leverage.
Right.
Right now they are back because they actually see, okay, leverage gives you a huge benefit in making money in the market. But if you don't do that correctly, the market is gonna slap you in all different ways.
That's right.
Right? So when you use it correctly, it allows you to take benefit of that. Say, for example, okay, can I share the screen one more time?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay. So say if you look at just last 6 months and you're looking at the market, you kind of get to understand like the market was showing a lot of different things. This was a trading bag which we started with very small capital.
Okay.
It went up, it went up, it went up. This is each leg up. I was monitoring and recording it. Say right now in the group, I think we are here, right? We're here. So that pop on there was here. Now this is a leverage bag. So we trade. Now we're still around like 20x up, 25x up. Now, not today, it's like a day back. Now the market is up from there. Maybe we are 28, 30x. But a lot of people don't understand this. I started trading XRP very recently with a breakout. I never traded XRP in between. Why? The market was not showing us that it is moving capital into it. Recently, we started getting more money entering into XRP XLM. So I have levered trade there. Till this time, we were trading different assets, the AI to gaming to infrastructure.
Right.
So if you are looking at the market in that way, saying, okay, I want to make my life in this cycle, we may have very few months.
Right.
But if you use it correctly, just think about real utility. Real utility. For payments, it serves real utility. But when it is combined with smart contracts, that's where you have ton of utility, the business cases. That's why now people ask like, okay, stable coin, why not on Flare? I have one of my friend who became a brother asking like, Dan, why is not that on Flare, but on Ether? With all that rubbishness happening between XRP and Ether, why they opted for Ethereum network to put on their stable coin?
Right.
Like that's where the network effect is.
Right.
They have a lot more partners. So now you are in that network with the existing payments looped into it, most likely using ILP, Interledger Protocol. The IMF had a test. Now, Bank of International Settlements had a test with XRP Ledger and Ether through ILP. So this was already done before. Now they're putting on a stable coin in. So the value perspective of the asset XRP is sky high. There is no question about it. Then if you're in the market, not just as a hodler, like say, for example, I have a different bag, which is considering my boy, he's 4 years old. I'm looking at like, when he's 10, 15, okay, that's when I'm going to cash it out. And this is the exact same thing I've told in 2018, 2019 and all, right? I'm still holding on to that in different, outside the internet. So the thought process is if you're that kind of a holder, you don't care about the short-term market fluctuation.
Right.
You don't care about the 80% drop because you're not looking at that. But for you, if you are using your mobile every 30 minutes to look through your wallet, rotate money.
Yeah.
Some people miss this. If you get 50% return in a trade and you can do just 12 trades, your $1,000 is now 100,000.
Wow.
So it's just 50%. and 12 trades. So maybe you'll have to do 20 trades to get the average of 15, 12 trades. But that still is very decent approach.
Makes
Now
sense.
I'm watching, some people nearing that $1 million mark in the family, and it's really, life changing to me to see that someone from one end of the world with crypto can change the life of another human being. Now, I have my own partiality, but say I'm also selfish like every other human beings, right? So whenever these guys are becoming mega rich, I actually send them the links, say some charities in India, because India is so big country, right?
Right.
Not through me directly, the old age homes, the orphanages, you
Right.
send things, whichever
Right.
you want to. So the idea of making it big, as you was talking about, the retirement, we were here for a long time, so we had that opportunity. And if you're entering new now in this cycle, maybe some part of your viewers are new in this cycle. If that's you, then think about it clearly, that if you are not ready to hold next 3, 4, 5 years, don't just opt 100% XRP.
That's right.
Also have its competitors. Like if
I
you are
agree.
gonna, buy a Tesla stock, you're also
Right.
looking at all the other competitors,
Right.
like the BYD and all. Like
Right.
we call it like Porter's 5 analysis, the market analysis. Like
Right.
you want to see who's strong, who's weak, and if it's strong, how strong than the others.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. And no, I think that's a phenomenal perspective. One of the things that I get a lot of, and I wanted to ask you this, and obviously it's not financial advice, but I answered this yesterday. I had a lot of people asking the questions. By the way, shouts out to the 1,100, almost 1,200 now live viewers that are watching myself and Dr. Daniel. Dr. Daniel, when you see something like this, what would you say to the and again, we don't want to give financial advice. Obviously, you want to be diversified, but what would be a decent long-term amount if you were to talk to a family member? Not that you're talking to anybody here on the show, but if you're talking to a family member, say, Dr. Daniel, how much XRP would I need to hold long-term to feel like I have a successful amount? And I'll actually share this screen here that I pulled up, and I'll have you look at this and you let me know what you think about this. Is it necessary to have, somewhere in this range to, because obviously it says just to be in the top 10%. I don't know how old this is, but it says 3,583. Do you feel if a person had 1,000 XRP long term, what's a good number if a person could hodl that in the next 3, 5 years or whatever the case may be?
Oh, it's very subjective. Say, for example, if I look at my friends and cousins who have XRP after watching me getting financial freedom,
Okay.
they're in India, so they get multiplied by 82 because
Oh
the
wow.
dollar to INR transaction is that big. So
Okay.
for them, they don't need this big. Say, for example,
Oh,
here
I
in
see.
Canada, if you want to buy a house, now with the rates and the price, it's like if you don't have $2 million, $1.5 million, you don't get a decent house in Ontario, Toronto,
Wow.
or $1 million here. Like the house I rent now, the house was sold for like 1.4 million. And this is not that big house. So the price is so high.
Right.
It's a small one family home, and that's at that cost. But with this price, you can have 10 bungalow in India. So, it depends on where you are and what you want to achieve. But if you are in a developing country where your currency is not dollar, yeah, that 1,000 to
Right.
10,000 range of XRP, if you're going to hold for next 3 to 5 years, fine,
Right.
you made your life. But if you're in Canada, no,
Right.
believe me, no. Why? Because this is the problem. Like, say, what people don't look at is Zimbabwe just went gold backed currency. Zimbabwe, Canada has zero gold. So value of gold is going up, and when value of gold is going up, macroeconomics is someone is looking for safety. And it's not small guys, it's big guys, the banks, the reserve banks and all. Which then means if you are looking for a safe number in dollar territory, say you are in US dollar. Now, no, not 1,000. I'll say at least 10,000, at least. That's not financial independence. It's financial freedom to
Right.
start your own business, to start
Right.
something new. It's not retirement. I don't
Right.
believe 10,000 XRP will retire you,
Right.
because look at the cost, man. I mean, look at the debt. If the debt of the country is going through the sky, that means your value of assets are going up, the currency is going down. It's pure supply demand. So
Right.
if you are in a you are in US and your primary currency is dollar, or even Europe in euro, or Britain in pound, all of these kind of have the same trouble. You need more. Accumulate with time, accumulate with time, accumulate. Like if you see the price going up nuts in a very short time, running up 5x, 10x, take some profit. At some point, it's going to drop 30,
Yeah.
40, 50%. Now buy
I
it
agree.
back. Say at 1.91, when I sold, a lot of people were not happy. But when I was buying back at 0.6, all of them were happy. But
Right.
yeah, I completely missed the crisis which came after that. So I missed the 0.3. But I personally consider that was a good move at 1.9, coming back at 0.6, which increased my bag. So if you're doing this, you're not putting more money in, but you're still increasing the number of XRP which you want to hold for long term, next
Right.
5 years, next 10 years. That, I think, is going to be the best approach if you are going to hold. But yes,
Okay.
I don't think that 1,000 XRP will change your life if you're in US. Maybe if
Okay.
you are in Pakistan, maybe if you are in India, Bangladesh,
Okay.
where you get 100 into 100 for the dollar. Yeah.
Right. It's a big difference. Gotcha. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. How about your thoughts on BRICS, or your views on BRICS, Ripple, and the Bank of International Settlements? How do you think that's going to go?
The BRICS alliance now is growing very fast. Say, for example, if you look at, initially it was just 4 countries. South Africa, S came at the end.
Right.
Now it's the Saudis, the Iran. You are getting a ton more people entering there.
That's right.
But this is a geographical shift. Like the G7 became G20 to address the concerns of these guys. But they still did not give the idea or the voice to those countries. So that's
Right.
why the BRICS came in. Now, when they trade, right now the dollar is killing them. I mean, US is saying to India, you can't buy oil from Russia. For Indians, it's like, I don't care what you think, right? Because say when you are a developing country, you want your cost to be lower. You don't have a developed infrastructure, financial infrastructure, and your people, it's like 1.4 billion in population, in which 50% is below 30 years. So your economy is just starting for that boom for next 30 years, which China had 2 decades back. Now we have it. So if you look at that friend, you're like, okay, that's not happening in that way. In one way or the other, you should look at hedge, which is the economical hedge. Gold is the historical hedge on that end. But again, I would come back to it and say, like, if you're a long-term holder, fine, have longer horizon, look at your portfolio less. If you're a trader, use less leverage in the same asset. It's okay.
That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Your thoughts on CBDCs, good or bad?
For XRP, it's great, but for us, it's bad. That's why, from the early stage, I was saying, like, why is such a small startup company reaching these levels, XRP? And that's where I was saying XRP and XLM, both of them got that advantage. So maybe we are devil's advocate, trying to make money off of it now and move out of the cities and let others suffer. And that's one of the reasons why I was looking back to India, saying I'm going back to India. Why? We still have people, majority don't even know how to use a smartphone. So they're not going to put CBDCs there. You cannot. You still have the cash there. So I'm like, okay, I'll be safe there. Because say here in Canada, I think 99% of people are using card. Nobody using cash, right? That means if CBDCs are to be enrolled, they can literally decide what you do, what you shouldn't do. Say we had this on from the Davos. One of the guy, I think was Indian, who was representing IMF, saying like, we want to know where you travel, what you buy, how you buy, when you buy. Like, why do you care? Right? So this is the intention of those guys who are looking at this to execute the CBDCs. But for a CBDC, say dollar to INR is already out. Vajra is a CBDC. They're already piloting it. So once this is all out, the euro, the CBDC from US and India, all other countries, to transact in between, now you need a bridge asset. And I believe this technology, the DLT, the blockchain, is what's allowing BRICS and other countries to say, we don't need dollar. So India just signed a contract with 18 countries, including Germany, UK, New Zealand, and other countries, saying we're going to trade in INR. From INR to your currency, I don't care about dollar. This is because of the regulators in US. and the stupid politicians using the dollar as a weapon, right?
Right.
Sanctioning different countries.
Right.
So if you look at the treasury holdings from all these currencies, when they move into CBD in the current infrastructure, they need US treasuries to hold. They see like just like the bank to bank movement, the Reserve Bank has movement, money movement. We call it swap lines. Reserve Bank swap lines. They move in billions, right?
Right.
If a European bank need $100 million, the Reserve Bank actually acquires it from Fed. So that's how things work in that end. So now if you say, okay, in the new infrastructure, the CBDC, do I need dollar? No, right? They don't need it. So they can just route it through XRP, XLM, any other currency, whichever is your favorite of that country's current regulator, the Reserve
I see.
Bank chair, right? At that point, it becomes really, really important to understand like, okay, you don't need treasury, US treasury. And that's why these people are not buying. And that's why the
Right.
rate is not going down. Who's going to buy when you
Right.
reduce the rate? Now,
Right.
when you push the rate up or keep the rates high, okay, a lot more corporations or others are buying. Or
Right.
then you'll have to make it like Swiss. Like you'll have to put the regulation saying companies with this scale should buy at least this percent in US treasuries, because
Right.
others are dumping it and the currency is coming back to your country. When the supply increases, value decreases. You don't want
Right.
that to happen. So you're trying to absorb it within inside. So on a CBDC front, I would say for retail, it's really bad, especially if you're a 9 to 5 guy. If you don't have that, you can live out of cities. This doesn't matter. You can have your own farm. You can
Right.
have your own plot, where you have the water, food, everything. You don't have to go out too much, right?
Right.
You can agree on what you're supposed to pay. Just pay in XRP.
Right.
Just pay in whatever other things you can do, not CBDC, right?
Yeah.
So that's for CBDC.
That makes sense. And for all you guys that are watching now, over 1,200 live viewers between X and YouTube, I want to thank Dr. Daniel for coming on the show. Before we get out of here, Dr. Daniel, I want to actually show your scientific investor. Let me see if I can pull it up. Scientific investors SI site. It looks like it's patreon.com/invest with SI. And so I'm going to ask you guys to go over and make sure you support everything that Dr. Daniel is doing. Dr. Daniel, what if you have any final comments as far as for people that are watching, maybe where they should be at, or mindset, or anything that you want to share before we get up out of here? Final thoughts.
If it's trading, I would say that's because if you pulled up that page, what I do there is the one-on-one sessions. There's a lot of different tiers. Like say, for example, the benefit there is those in that tens of millions of XRP holders, you get to see their thought process in that group. We have the
Right.
Telegram access as well. So you get to see what they're doing, especially the profit taking. That's where a lot of small people don't understand. You don't have to pay taxes.
Right.
Like these big guys know the loopholes because they're already playing in the stock market and the commodities market. There are giants, right? So that's one benefit. Then the next thing is my trades. Whenever I trade, I open a trade, I close a trade, I send it right away. So like most recently, the complaints are, Danny, you're 20x up. I'm only 4x up. I'm like, 4x up in 4 months is not a bad deal.
No, not at all.
Right. So the right now the market is moving up. When the trend is to the upside, trend is your friend because you're not trying to short the market.
Right.
When the trend is going down, trend is your friend. But at that point, you're trying to short the market where the risk is substantially higher. So now, when this is existing in front of us, use it for your advantage, right? If your aim is to buy more XRP and you don't have capital, this is how we started the trading back. We took 10% out of XRP. We started trading that to generate capital, more capital. Now we've reached 20x that, right? So if you think about that, we took 10%. We're already 100% in profit compared to our actual long-term holding. And this is happening live with hundreds of members on each tier. Like I'm sharing them. So if I lose, they know because they are also taking the trade. And if you are not doing well and they're losing money, they won't stay there. So for me, at my end, it's my responsibility to make sure not only I don't lose money, others don't, because the credibility which I've made in the last 5-6 years, that would be washed out just with one stupid decision, right? So I take that amount of time for my trades. And unlike in a lot of other groups, I show you my portfolio, like what's happening there. Because I'm literally sharing it. Each screenshot, each orders, you get to see that. So if you're trading XRP, okay, it's fine. Learn trading. Just like to be a doctor, you need to spend 10 years. To be a professor, you need to spend 10 years. Right? I'm like engineering 4 years, my master's 2 years, PhD 5 years. I mean, it took a lot of time, effort, money to learn that. So to become a trader or an investor, it's not going to happen for free. You need to put in time, learn, effort, everything needs to be there. So if that's you, okay, learn and trade, make your bags bigger, it's cool. But if you think you're not trading XRP, then trade other assets where the cash flow is going. Just look at the market volume. If you see one asset was 100 million yesterday in volume, 24-hour trading volume, today it's 1 billion. Someone is pouring money into it.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Use it for your advantage. That's all what I say.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And for those of you guys that are tuning in, over 1,200 now, going on 1,300 live viewers on X and YouTube, please do me a huge favor. Go over to my friend, Dr. Daniel's X. We shared it here. You can go back and watch the video and his YouTube and support his website and all that he's doing as well. Phenomenal guy, brilliant mind. And also for those of you guys that get a chance to tune in tomorrow, we'll have Sean McBride on, X Google, X Amazon, X Ripple, tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look forward to having you guys. Dr. Daniel, it's been absolutely incredible. It's been an honor to get to know you personally, to have you share your story, and for everyone to really see how amazing you are and all that you do. Sir, I thank you, and hopefully we can have you back on the show again. Oh,
cheers, brother. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, and enjoy your family. Guys, we'll appreciate you guys in a major way. For all those that are here, I definitely appreciate you guys. Make sure you go over to our Crypto4Life YouTube channel, hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you guys don't miss any of the incredible information, and do the same for my friend, Dr. Daniel. Until next time, it's your boy James, aka 68J. Peace.